This is Anthony Michael Hall, Tommy Doyle from Halloween Kills.
Hi, this is James Jude Courtney, Michael Myers from Halloween 2018.
And you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
And you're listening to Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Stay tuned.
My grandmother was right. The boogeyman was real.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Fella, we're live again. It's only been a week since the last time we were live, so this is becoming a more normal thing. By the way, I'm Mike Settle. That is Brian Hathaway, and that over there is Nico Chin. And this is go ahead and say what we are, Nico. It's better when you say it.
The Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast.
That's right. Except this is a live feed. I had this idea. I don't know, maybe a week ago now. We decided to kind of piggyback on what the YouTube horror community was doing, at least, and that is to talk about what we want to see from Halloween Ends, what we want in the future of the Halloween franchise, and everything that comes with that. Obviously, we reviewed Halloween Kills already. You can go check that out, wherever you get your podcasts, and to quote Brian Hathaway at don'tgoouthere.com. You can also check out Halloween 2018, the first movie in this trilogy, on all of those things as well. So we reviewed those two films in depth. They were long episodes. I'm sure whenever Halloween Ends comes out, that's going to be a long episode. I have a feeling this won't be as long because this is just our ideas and our theories. I'm looking forward to talking about it. Any opening thoughts before we kind of get into it about what we want to see out of this franchise?
I just want to touch on one thing before we jump into opening thoughts for this. I rewatched Halloween 78 for Halloween, like tradition. And I did not catch this in Halloween Kills in the 5 times I watched it, but that was a nice little touchback or callback with Allison falling down the stairs. I forgot all about Myers throwing Laurie over the stair rail. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
That was a great callback. I was like, when it happened in 78, I was like, they did that to Allison. I didn't even catch that, but I really like that.
Yeah. No, I also caught that as well. It's like we were on some telekinesis, brother, as I'm known to say. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started then. Look, we reviewed Halloween Kills in depth, like I've already mentioned. And so here we have Devin Gordon Green's final installment in the Halloween franchise. At least I think so. Now, that does not mean Halloween is ending. I want to make that very clear. They're going to make 1 million of these things as long as they make money. So I just think this timeline, this universe, this version of Halloween is done after Halloween Ends. That's why it's called Ends. I think this is the end of Laurie Strode and or at least maybe the Strodes in general, but I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts. Brian, let's start with you. Just general right off the top, what do you want to see from Halloween Ends?
I don't know. It's kind of a thin line between what I want to see and what I think where I think they might go with it. I've kind of learned to not put too much of what I want in there and not be too disappointed. Laurie, I thought about this a lot, especially in the last couple of days whenever we decided we were going to do this. And, Laurie says at the end of Kills, as Karen's dying, that Michael is the fear he instills or something like that, and I think Laurie could go mad, especially if it's a time jump, like you guys were saying, which I hadn't read. I'm just taking you guys' word for that one. So if there's a time jump, maybe I think Laurie could go mad because of losing Karen. I think she could cross the line looking for him. I think she could let that fear, let that anger, take her over. I think that her hunt for Michael because of that's going to push Allison further away. Hence her having to look inward to take that power away from Michael Myers again, maybe. And I think that she's going to sacrifice herself and go out her and Michael together, dying to save Allison. And I think that I mean, she said, Jamie Lee Curtis. When I say she, Jamie Lee Curtis said people are going to be mad. I took that as she thinks that people care more about the character of Laurie Strode than maybe we really do. And that she thinks we don't want to see her cross the line like that. That's the way I was kind of like, yeah, okay. Because if she does go mad, if she does break laws or do things that we don't want to see, maybe, or the normal people don't really want to see Laurie Strode do, maybe that would make people mad. And, like I said, I think they're going to go out sacrificing themselves, or she's going to go out sacrificing herself to kill Myers, and that'll be the end. Now, will it really kill him? I don't, obviously, like you said, it depends on how much money this makes, right? Because if this makes $1 bajillion, they're going to be like, all right, well, how do we do another one? How do we do like every other Halloween movie and say, well, he escaped this way and Laurie died, and maybe it continues with Allison. I don't know. But that's kind of where I don't know. That's just kind of where I put the two together.
Before you go, Nico, I just want to say, I think that I agree with you. My only problem with Laurie in this movie, and we just kind of gloss over it in Halloween Kills, but I think that has to be the main focal point of Halloween Ends, is her realizing that Michael Myers did not give a fuck, excuse my language, about her. Okay? And so the fact that realization probably sets in and you get that time jump, she has to live with now her granddaughter, is an orphan because of her obsession, that she thought Michael was after her, when that's just not the case. That was never the case. It was never going to be the case. Michael did not care. We know that now. And she knows that now. And so I wonder how mentally she's going to be in Halloween Ends when it comes to stuff like that. And I think that will take her direction and, or her character in either the direction you mentioned, or maybe she becomes the opposite where she doesn't fight. Like, I don't know. That's something I'm really interested to see. Go ahead, Nico.
All right. I have theories on what I think is going to happen, but I'm not going to touch on that right now. I'll wait till
we'll get there.
What we just want to see. Only thing I really want to see is I want to see Laurie die finally. Because I think this, and I don't mean that like in a hateful way or nothing, but and Shane, I'm reading your comments. I hope they don't do a H2O resurrection thing again. That would just be ridiculous. And that would just ruin this whole trilogy.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
I just want to see Laurie and Michael have one big final duel or a big battle again, and like her go out heroically. And like Mike said, maybe I'm really not looking. I really don't know how they're going to explain this 4-year time jump, because David Gordon Green's saying they're going to fast forward to the present, and she's in the hospital recovering from getting stitches put in her gut, and she's telling Tommy Doyle to go find him. We kill him tonight, but we're getting a 4-year time jump. Like, what the hell happened in 4 years?
Yeah.
So I'll touch on what I think is going to happen after we just do what we want. I just want to see Laurie die in a good way.
Well, let me ask you this. So they're retconning them being brother and sister in this whole trilogy. Okay. But yet we're still having the same focus, probably even more focus on Laurie, if we're being honest. I mean, over these last 3 movies, because he's not going after his sister on purpose, but yet now we have this whole entire arc over 3 movies with Laurie, where she's trying to find out basically that she's obsessed over somebody who doesn't give a shit about her for the past 40 years. And now we're getting a whole nother movie, maybe, which I expect, with basically Laurie having another showdown with Myers to kind of end the trilogy. So what's really the purpose? If you're still making it about Laurie, right? I mean, really.
I'm glad you said that.
Go ahead, Mike. I'll go after you.
I meant to say this on the Halloween Kills review. I'm glad you said that, because as big as a fan as I was, I know you weren't, and that's okay. We're different kind of Halloween fans. As big a fan as I was of them retconning that, because I don't care about the brother sister stuff.
I've accepted that. I've accepted that. I mean, I love this new trilogy. So
as big of a fan I was of that decision, almost deciding to retcon Halloween 2 backfired a little bit, because I think if you keep Halloween 2 canon, all the stuff in that hospital at Haddonfield Memorial is stronger, because there's ties to the hospital where he went on a spree in there already. So the fear and panic inside the hospital where Michael Myers has already been makes a lot more sense to me if that's already canon in the timeline. And so he showed up here before, it got set on fire. We rebuilt Haddonfield Memorial. It has the same logo and everything. So like, to me, and they technically flash back to Halloween 2 when they show Annie being guarded out on a gurney. So you really could have kept that canon, especially with Brackett coming back and everything else. But I mean, that's another story for another time. But I just think, man, what a missed opportunity. Now, I don't like the brother-sister thing. Maybe you could have just retconned that part where Nurse Marion didn't know what she was talking about. Maybe she was confused, and you could have explained that away. Yeah. But keeping Haddonfield Memorial a central theme throughout this timeline, I think that makes all that stuff of the hospital that we didn't really care for a little bit stronger as far as Halloween Kills go. So two things I want to see from Halloween Ends, and we'll go into what we think may happen. I want to see more Allison Strode. It's the third movie, and we still have yet to get an Allison Strode movie, in my opinion. I hope you're right, because we got a Laurie Strode film in 18. That's fine. Got no problem with that. 40 years, all that stuff. Halloween Kills is a Michael Myers movie. It is a Michael Myers killing spree movie, and I love that. Like, I love that about that film.
Well, and Karen gets her, so it's flat.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a Karen film. But, I mean, if I'm picking between the two, I'd say Myers, but Karen definitely gets her shine. But to me, the first movie just didn't give Allison enough to do, in my opinion. Not anything worthy of what I think that character could be. Here now, you have a strong female lead who's lost both of her parents, to the same guy, Michael Myers. There's a 4-year time jump where Michael Myers, I guess, disappears. I don't know. But you have 4 years to, maybe he's hanging out in another old man's basement. I don't know, okay? But my point is, you have Allison Strode with the chance to become not Laurie in 78, because as much as I love Halloween 78, I have problems with how Laurie reacted. but a really strong character to battle Michael Myers. She is ready. She has vengeance on her mind. Like, I want to see more Allison Strode in this film.
Well, then I think they should have killed Laurie in Kills.
I agree with you on that. Well, I would have killed her in 18, but I understand what you're saying. And I really want to.
Halloween fans would have been pissed if you kill her off in the first of a trilogy.
I think you could have gotten away with it. I really do. I think there's a small subsect of fans that may have been pissed, but I think overall, if you did it the right way, which, by the way, that was the original ending that they screened with test audiences, and they said, nah, but it was the way they did it, not the fact that they killed Laurie. That was the critique of that ending. So I understand. But the one other thing I want to see, and I really want to hammer this home, I'm okay with putting political undertones in your film. Now, I thought Kills was a little too on the nose in some of their stuff. I thought 18 did it a lot as far as trauma and everything else. Fine. And I'm fine with a little bit in this film. But I really want to see a focused narrative plot on these characters that we have left. I don't want side plots about going to a high school dance and throwing throwing phones in a bowl of caramel, whatever the fuck that was. I don't want to see a loose mental patient at the hospital jumping out the window, even though I'm still mixed on that. I just want to see a focused story on the characters we have left. The Strodes that are left, Hawkins. I want to see, and Lindsay Wallace. I want to see, and that's my third thing. I want to see more Lindsay Wallace. So those are the things I want to see from Halloween Ends. Brian, you talked about what you want to see. What do you think may happen? And I know you said it's a thin line, so elaborate.
Let Nico.
Go ahead, Nico.
Before you kick us off, Brian, I just wanted to comment on something that you said. I've been watching a lot of interviews with Jamie Lee Curtis and Judy Greer, about the movie. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're kind of trying to make a point with Laurie that Michael's deeper than just Michael. They're trying to make a
Yeah,
like you said, like he's trauma that she's just dealt with all her life.
I think that's it.
Because whenever she did like a 10-minute interview with this guy, and she was very complimentary of his questions because he brought up like times in her own personal life when she's had to, look deep within at problems she's dealt with. I feel like they're trying to make Michael deeper than just Michael.
I agree with that 100%. And by the way, John Carpenter did that,
and that's fine. But I'm nervous about ends, honestly.
Right, but if you remember, the original 78 Myers is basically a representation of fear. That's what he is. I mean, that's what Carpenter said. He dolled up fear as a masked, babysitter killer. But I think you're right, Nico. I think if you listen to Laurie's closing dialogue, which is a little too Shakespearean for my liking, but whatever, you get the more he kills, the more he transcends. And I think we're going to get in this film something bigger. And I'm not going to lie to you. I know everyone doesn't want this, but between the making of Halloween Kills and the making of Halloween Ends, there's been a global pandemic. Probably going to touch on that at some point. I'm pretty sure it was David Gordon Green. Now, he's taken out of context a little bit. I don't think the whole movie is going to be about the pandemic. But you remember, people weren't leaving their houses during the height of the pandemic. I think people might be scared of Myers on Halloween and around that time to leave their house. I think we're going to have a little bit of a on-the-nose comparison there. But that's just a prediction that I'm going with early. Speaking of predictions, Brian, go ahead, man.
Hey, he said he got booted. Can he join back in while we're going live?
Yeah, I should be able to click on that just like that.
Okay.
I don't know why he would have gotten booted.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Well, go ahead, Nico.
All right. We're touching on things we think were going to happen. All right. I kind of wish Brian was here to hear it, but I'll just go ahead and start. After several rewatches, there
he is.
Brian's back.
Yep. There
Brian,
he is.
You want to go ahead and go? Things you want to see in Halloween?
Yeah, Brian, go ahead and go. Things you want to see things you think we'll see in Halloween Ends. I know you said it's a thin line, so.
Well, truthfully, what I said earlier is what I think will kind of happen along those lines. Like I said, I don't really have what I want to see. Besides the fact that I just don't want it to be a Laurie centric movie again.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like but I feel like I just feel like it's going to, and so I'm just worried. I'm more worried about it than I am with Kills, and so I don't know if that's going to be, or I was with Kills, so I don't know if that's going to be like me kind of looking at it through the eyes that Nico looked through Kills. And, I don't know, I guess I'm very, very hesitant. I just don't have a whole lot of, as many times as I've wished that they've kind of not retconned the old series, but yet still referencing it to the point to where like you're almost remaking the old stuff. Like I'm just really, really worried that you're going to give me something where I'm like, well, what was the point then? Like, why did you start this all over? I think that they should have gotten away from Laurie in Kills and moved on with the Allison character, for the third film, and maybe Karen, and have them have a more focused relationship, with them two, moving forwards, and it made them closer. So I don't know, honestly, to answer your question and not answer it at the same time. I don't know. I don't really have anything that I know. I think what I said earlier is what they're going to do. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Nico, before you go, what I wanted from Kills, and we kind of got it a little bit anyway, and what I'm hoping we get in Ends is her playing more of a Nancy Thompson role in Dream Warriors, where she's in the movie, but she's not the focus. Not to me anyway. The new kids are the new kids are the focus, and Nancy's just kind of this mentor. Maybe we get more of a Laurie Strode is just kind of a driving force behind, hey, stay safe, do the, maybe, whatever. Maybe she's just not the main protagonist, and we get a more Allison-centric movie. Go ahead, Nico.
All right, let's. I agree with you, Shan. If you want to get away, if you're going to get away from Laurie, you have to kill her early. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Don't wait to the end.
But then I think you wasted her in Kills. I think that you set her on the sidelines and barely focused on her just to kill her off really early in the next one. I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. But I agree that you have to kill her early to get away from the story. What I think is going to happen is I kind of saw this playing in my mind the last rewatch I had earlier this week or something, whenever last time I rewatched it. But in the very beginning of Kills, you see Hawkins and his partner go through the Myers house. They fling open the closet, and Cameron and Allison did the exact same thing. They rip the closet open. She shoots the pumpkin. They both sets of people heard the steps upstairs, and Hawkins survived 2018.
Right.
I think Hawkins and Allison survived the next one. I think he's going to get his redemption by saving Allison at the end of the movie, and he's going to feel his I think Laurie's going to die by Michael's knife or however, but I think Hawkins redeems himself from killing his partner by saving Allison by the window, because they're making like this window very significant, looking out where he's standing. So I feel like Hawkins is going to kill Michael Myers in that window, like saving Allison somehow. But
Okay.
I'm still confused on what the hell they're going to do with the 4-year time jump though. Like,
Well,
what
what do you think, Nico? How do you think they're going to kill him? Like, I don't know what you could do to him that he hasn't already had done to him in the past 2 movies, and he hasn't died. What do you think? How do you
Yeah.
think they're going to kill him?
Well, I don't have a clue, because the man's
neither.
already been shot. He got stabbed in the back of the neck. He got bludgeoned by bats. He's got his hand blown off. I don't know how you kill him. He survived
Okay.
fire.
This may be a very controversial opinion, because I understand wanting to kill Myers off, especially in this timeline. There's been people calling for it. To me, I think now Nico's going to cringe when I say this, but that's okay. Michael Myers does not need to die, because the original essence of that character from 78 is you can't kill the boogeyman. And that's the intent of that original Michael Myers character. And this is supposed to be the same thing 40 plus years later. And so what I would hope they do is kill him without killing him. Don't leave it open-ended, not so ambiguous. But yeah, you kill him. Allison Strode can move on with her life, but still leave it a little bit kind of like the end of 78 almost, where did he go? Not necessarily that same thing, because that's been done to death, but get it to the point where he's out of the Strode's life, but Michael Myers is not dead. Like, make it, is he man? Is he more than man? We don't know. I like that character arc for Michael Myers, but I still want him to kill the fuck out of people. Like, I still want him to be Michael Myers like he's been in these last 2 films.
They might put him in jail, and then they blow up the jail, and they have this guy come in with a black suit and coat and hat.
I'm
and he has a
done.
big thorn
If they
symbol.
If they do that, I'm walking out. If they do that, I'm walking out of the theater, brother. I'm telling you. Dude, if they even reference, that's one more thing I want to get away from. Make this an original film. No more nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. You got to go and do your own. And I like the fan service. I do. But it's time to do something different than just fan service. These last 2 films have done it. I don't care what happened to Lindsay Wallace in 78 now. What is Lindsay Wallace doing right now? That's what I want to know. It's done. 78 happened. It's over with. I love that film, and I love the add-on in Halloween Kills. But I don't need any more flashbacks in 1978. Give me current day what's going on with the characters that are left.
I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis wouldn't have done these movies if she didn't get the closure she wanted in H2O. I feel like I don't think she's not going to do another Halloween movie in her life.
No.
So I imagine she probably wants her character to be killed off in a good way or survive in a heroic way. I don't know. But, she wanted Myers to be dead in H2O. So I feel like, didn't David Gordon Green say he was going to kill Myers off anyways?
That's what he said. That's what they said. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Mike, they're going to make more movies down the road.
Yeah,
of
course.
So much money.
Of course.
But like Vinny DeSantis says, somebody new is going to come in and pitch a different idea, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I feel like we got to pay attention to what Laurie was saying in the hospital at the end. You can't kill them with just brute force. You have to. I really just hope they don't go down the direction like It Chapter 2, where you're just not scared of them no more. and he becomes a wimp. And
kind of where I'm headed. Because if you notice, and I'm glad you said that, and I kind of said it in our review of Kills. Notice how Allison was not scared of him at the end, and he didn't stab her. He had a million chances to just put an end to Allison Strode, but didn't. Now I know he likes to play with his food a little bit, but I caught on to that because it happened right before the dialogue that Jamie Lee, or while even, Jamie Lee Curtis is giving that dialogue where, the more he kills, the more he transcends, and you can't kill him with brute force and all that. Those two things went together in my mind. Even on the first killing, I'm like, the way to not have Michael brutally stab the out of you is to just not be, do it. Like, she's not scared of Michael Myers. She's not bluffing, and I think that's because even Karen has the mask and she's walking away. She's still scared of him, and that's probably the reason she goes up into the bedroom. I'm going to get to my Karen theory here in a minute because I think that they're going to do something that I don't like, but I think you're onto something, Nico, which I'm iffy on as well, because I think it's going to be one of those I'm not scared of you anymore things. And they've done that with Nightmare on Elm Street. They've done that with Nightmare on Elm Street. They've done that with It
Chapter 2.
Well, I mean, that's just the way the book is written for Stephen King. So that's just
I haven't read the book.
Right. I mean, Stephen King is criticized heavily for the way he ends his books, and that one's one of the worst because he does that with a lot. But anyway, man.
Stan's got a good idea though. Maybe the house is where he like that's the only thing from his origins is that house. Maybe his power is tied to the house or something. Or I don't know if I like that, but that's a theory. That's a good theory.
Well, everything that I read with David Gordon Green, I think 100%. I think I know where you're going to go with that, Mike. But I think the way that he talked is like he's done with the Karen character. I think that they've written off. I don't think that he's going to be back or she's going to be back unless
you're right.
Unless it's going to be flashbacks or whatever.
Yeah, she said she's dead.
Yeah, I don't.
I hope you guys are right.
But as much as they pushed in Halloween Kills, the whole Michael Myers is fear instilled in the whole and how he affected the whole town. I 100% think, yes, Nico, that it's going to be, at least part of it is going to be not being afraid of him anymore. But like Shan said, this time jump is going to be fucking crazy because what the hell did he, like, he broke out and he went home. Like, where the hell would he go for 4 years? This is going to be.
And the cops are downstairs when Karen gets killed.
Right.
Like, they have to find her. Like, where's he going?
But remember, he's
going to kill all of them.
They all think he's dead. So what we could get is a little bit of a continuation from that same night in 2018 where he kills all the cops and everything. Because, we saw him kill the angel mob. We saw him kill Karen. He could come downstairs. Allison's the only one that gets away. And then we don't see Michael again. It's one of those things. And then we do a time jump 4 years later. And remember, they've not just David Gordon Green, but Jason Blum has mentioned the pandemic being canon in this movie. Somehow, some way, I think they're going to incorporate. I think they're going to.
I hope
it is. Well, I don't want it either.
Michael stays inside. He doesn't want to get coronavirus.
No. I think
they're going to.
No. I think, Nico, that they're going to use Michael Myers as a allegory for the fear that all that caused. Like, I really think they kind of had a different movie for Halloween Ends, and then all this happened because originally Halloween Ends was supposed to be on the same night as the other two films. So now with this 4-year time jump,
coronavirus.
I'm not saying I like it, but I think they're going to include it. Just because you have the pandemic, you had all the other, all the other political upheaval that's happened since they made Halloween Kills. I think they're going to use Michael Myers as a reason that people are staying in their homes, kind of like everyone did during the height of the pandemic. That's now, will they reference it as that? No, I don't think we're going to see all these characters wearing masks, or at least I hope not. But hell, Michael Myers is protected with his mask. Jesus Christ.
Well, what if it opens up with, them showing like somebody, like, I don't know if a firefighter or a cop going up and finding Karen, but also finding Myers' mask. And it kind of shows him like slipping out of their, like, maybe Hannibal Lecter style, like
Okay.
dressing up in a cop or whatever firefighter uniform? Or do you think that takes away from Myers?
No, I like that.
All over again.
Well, Michael Myers. So, I mean, my man Michael Myers wore a bandage mask for a quarter of Halloween 4. I mean,
I don't think he's going to abandon his mask once he gets it. Karen led him into the middle of a mob ass whooping, and before he even started fighting, he grabbed his mask.
He's also a child that likes to play.
I don't see him getting rid of his mask.
I think it's going to be very hard for them, no matter what they do, to close this out and give everybody an ending, because you have built up and you've done a great job, in my opinion, over the last 2 movies, building up to something that's, I don't know if you can live up to.
Right.
Yeah, and if you're going to keep changing your ideas with everything that happens in society, you didn't have a plan from the get-go.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Like, if you're going to pitch to Blumhouse and John Carpenter, you got an idea, then stick with it. Like,
so, like I said, supposedly they had Halloween Ends, not written but loosely plotted out, and then all this stuff happened. He got a
story, but
yeah, but he had one story, and then they put the time jump in, and now it's a different story. So I'm very curious what they've decided, what direction they've chosen to go in. I think that's interesting, just because we've had all this pandemic, all this, and in order to get Jamie Lee Curtis to do these movies in the first look, it's no secret. Every press junket that she did in 2018 was trauma. Got it. Generational trauma, alcoholism, all that stuff. I got it. In this movie, obviously, the political overtones were there. Mob mentality, all of that stuff.
Facing her trauma.
Yeah. Yep. Right. All of that stuff. And then, so I do think in order to get Jamie Lee Curtis to be a part of these films, they had to kind of pitch it to her that way. I don't think this series was ever written that way intentionally, but in order to hook, Laurie Strode into these films, I think you kind of had to give her a reason, entice her more than just a simple story where Laurie meets Michael again 40 years later. So to me, this third movie is going to be political, whether we like it or not.
Well, this time jump is very frustrating anyway, because, all right, now you've got a guy who, if you 28, now you got a guy that's 4 years older now. Like, it's going to be almost 70 years old. Michael Myers, that's almost 70 now. Instead of just having it all the same night, a 60-year-old, James Jude Courtney does an amazing job selling it. In my opinion anyway, I think Joe would disagree, but in my opinion, he doesn't come across as an old man. Like, he's, hell, I look at a lot of 60-year-old men now. Like, they're strong, they're built, they're whatever. Now you're getting to him to being almost 70. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think that's going to be, you're going to have to really, I don't know. I think they're pushing it. I think keeping it on the same night would have been the way to go. But
I agree with you 100% on that. Absolutely.
We got to read Bob Sakamoto's comment first. The reason I started laughing was Bob said all the actors should be fatter in Halloween Ends to make the COVID lockdown more real.
Yeah, you're not right. That COVID-20. Dude, I'm the only guy I think that lost weight in COVID just because it was so hot and I was outside all the time. Freaking whatever. Anyway, yeah. So, guys, anything else that we want to talk? One more question I kind of had that I wanted to pose to you guys, just to kind of see, because we're at 33 and I think we wanted to keep this at around 40 minutes. What do you think the future of this Halloween franchise is? And before you answer that, not this trilogy. We've kind of talked about all the possibilities they could do. After this trilogy, 2 questions. Do we get more Myers movies eventually? Do we get what John Carpenter originally wanted? Not a Season of the Witch remake, although I think that is coming, so everyone can kind of suck it up because I think that's coming. Just because it's been hinted at so many times, and hell, it may be better in a modern a modern telling. I would like to see it at least. Do we get an anthology thing? Is it designated like Chucky for TV, or do we more movies with Michael Myers? So I'm gonna throw it to you first, Nico. What do you think is the future of the Halloween franchise after Halloween Ends?
Oh man, I think I got to reference it again. Vinny DeSanti, he said it with Friday the 13th. Whenever they get all their problems
right,
somebody's going to have an idea But they're going to go to a studio. They're going to point out how successful this one was, or this trilogy was. They're going to say they have an idea, and they're going to try and make their own Halloween movies. But if you wait 10, 20 years to do that after these, you're not going to have Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter around anymore, I don't think.
No.
I mean, I'm not speaking death on them or nothing like that, but if they're gone, like, what are you going to do with it? You going to bring Danielle Harris out when she's 50?
Wouldn't hate it.
Jamie Lloyd sequel?
I wouldn't hate it.
Where are you going to go? I just don't know. I think it's going to be like Vinny said, though. Somebody's just going to pitch their own idea, or it's going to be another 78 remake or something like that.
I hope it's not a 78 remake. We've already gotten that. I hope I hope if it's Danielle Harris, we get that sooner, like 4 or 5 years, not 10, because
Right.
I wouldn't mind a continuation of that character, because I like that character. Also, Brian, before you go, I think what's obvious is they're going to do something with Halloween 3. It's a cult classic. People have asked for it. David Blum's talked about he would love to do it. David Gordon Green's talked about he'd like to be involved, not direct, but be involved in that movie. And by the way, Carpenter was involved in Halloween 3. He didn't hate that film like a lot of, like the three of us kind of do. A lot of people like that movie. I think there's something they could do where they can tie a Season of the Witch reboot softly into this universe where you don't have to completely get rid of Michael Myers. I think there's an interesting tie that you could make. Maybe that's the future, is kind of the anthology series, but not getting all the way away from Myers, because I think the franchise kind of needs Myers.
Well,
Yeah,
I think time is a circle, and I think 100% that they're going to try that. I think that they're going to try a Season of the Witch thing. I think that it's not going to do that great because people's going to miss Myers.
Yep.
And then I think they're going to go back to the Myers thing, just like they did with the original, just like they did before, and they tried it before. Time's crazy loop. And I wouldn't hate, a Jamie continuation in that universe either, and just retconning 6, or hell, if you want to retcon 5 too. But I think that they would keep 5.
Please retcon. Please retcon.
I mean, hell, I wrote a very good treatment. If anybody wants to just read that and
It's true,
and
you
do
do
that. But I mean, I don't know what else you could do other than that. Like, you can't remake it again. And I guess you could continue this, but I don't know. It depends on where they leave it, I guess. But that's why I think they'll do. I think they'll try the anthology thing first, and it will not do great, and then they will go back.
The only way to me they could pull off the anthology is still tying Myers in. There needs to be, in every anthology film, somehow, some way they need to incorporate Myers at some point, whether that be in a cameo, or maybe happening the same, like maybe do a story that happens on the same night where Michael Myers is killing a couple towns over, or something like that. Like, you've got to incorporate Myers somehow so people understand this is in the same universe. Kind of like Marvel has a cinematic universe, DC has one. All these other, there's the Universal Monster Universe that never go on, but they get going. That whole thing, I think you could do with Myers by softly rebooting Season of the Witch. Obviously, I think that movie needs a modern take, but I don't hate the idea of all the masks, because those masks are cool. Especially, we see those masks in Halloween Kills modernized, and it looks awesome. So could you do something with that? And Myers also has a mask, so I can kind of see where they could loosely connect the two, and they just never got to in the 80s because people wanted to see Michael Myers. I feel like you can incorporate Myers and still do Season of the Witch, because if they don't, like you said, Brian, they'll do Season of the Witch reboot. It's not going to work, and then Myers is going to be brought back in some movie that I pitched, by the way, which was just get away from all this crap and just have Michael Myers go kill somebody in the next town over. I don't care. Make it a fun little slasher and see where it goes. Maybe you can build another franchise with Michael Myers.
Missy Wall, look, every time that they've done a copycat killer, everybody hated it because it wasn't the real guy. Everybody hates Friday the 13th 5 for that.
I appreciate the suggestion, but I don't like it.
I don't think you can do it. I think that what'd be funny is they do this anthology thing, then it fails, and then they go back to the original timeline and do another Jamie movie, and you got Danielle Harris once again trying to come back and save the Halloween franchise. Again, it's the exact same thing. So I have no idea what the hell they're going to do. But you know what? That seems more likely than not. I would put bets on that.
Yeah.
Or
anything else, Nico?
Doesn't Blumhouse own? You can put Saw and Michael Myers in the same movie. I'm just kidding.
Nope.
I'm definitely kidding on that.
To me, that character makes no sense in a crossover. I do think there are other horror characters you could do with Saw and John Kramer that a crossover would potentially work, but that's not it to me.
I really don't see how you can keep doing this franchise and there doesn't become a fatigue to it.
Oh, well, that's all the 3 big slashers. That's why you wait and then you redo it. Like it's one of those things. Anything else? I know Brian has to go, and so do I. I got to eat some dinner here at some point.
Yeah, I just feel like people are going to get tired of the Laurie Loomis and that story. I think they're just going to get tired of it.
I'm tired of it. I'd like to go away from it.
I like this because I feel like this is a way better direction than the original.
But I agree with you, Nico. And I fought this tooth and nail at the very beginning, and I agree with you. I love that. I do like this new timeline the best now. However, like Mike said, I mean, how do I need to put this? Go ahead and finish it up, and then whenever I found a way to put this, I'm sorry.
Well, real quick, in the original '78 movie, they mentioned the town of Russellville. Man, just have Michael Myers go kill people in Russellville. I don't care. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, because this story of the Strodes is just fatigue to me. And I think you could still do a Michael Myers slasher film without tying in all these characters from '78. I like it. I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of the timeline. But at some point, you have to do something that's not Strode related. And that's the only thing I give Halloween Resurrection credit for is, yeah, they have the Myers house, but nothing else in that film after he kills Laurie is related to that timeline. So I will give it credit for doing something different. And I will just
I agree with you. That's what I was going to say is that, and everybody hates Resurrection. It's the worst in the franchise in everybody's list whenever you see people write it down and list it. But I'm telling you, you say that we want to see something different. You do. I mean, you say that. Yeah. But even with Kills, it was something different. And half the damn people hate it because it wasn't Halloween '78, just like Nico said in his rant. During Halloween. If it's not this formula, people are going to hate it.
Right.
So I feel like that's all you're going to get is that formula. And then
hope not.
I agree. I want to see something different too. And you know what? I agree. I respect Resurrection a lot for what it did. I just hated the ending. So I mean, the whole. I think it's got a great idea. It got away from the Laurie stuff. Yeah. We need to do that movie next Halloween, I think.
I just don't like the fact that Busta Rhymes is in it. I think Busta Rhymes is terrible.
That's the worst part. Like, if you had him kill, if he killed Busta Rhymes, like, it wouldn't be a bad movie at all.
Y'all some haters.
Trick or treat, motherfucker. On that note,
come on.
That's awful. that does not belong in a Halloween movie, dude. That's terrible.
Stop Asian hate.
Oh my God.
Busta Rhymes is not Asian.
I'm joking, everybody.
All right, fellas. I enjoyed doing this. I appreciate everyone watched along and commented. Really appreciate it, man. This was a lot of fun to do. I know that we've been kind of chomping at the bit to talk ends. So don't worry. At some point in the next 365 days, I'm sure we'll get some kind of teaser or trailer. And we'll be back right here live to talk about it. Fellas, anything else before we get out of here?
I got nothing. Y'all listen to American Psycho.
Yes.
We got an interview dropping for everyone Monday, or if you want to become a Patreon, we really appreciate that. Yep. We have Vasquez from Aliens on, Jeanette Goldstein. Check that interview out. And Brian's pick next week is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Looking forward to it.
I was going to say,
is it? Hey, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Hey, tune in next week when we check out my debate for the second best movie in that franchise. I go back and forth on the first one and New Nightmare all the time about which one's my second favorite. All right, fellas. It's not Halloween, so I won't tell everyone they're entitled to one good scare. But you can't kill the boogeyman.
Already told us.
Oh, that's true. I'll just say you can't kill the boogeyman and you can't kill Don't Go Out There. We'll see you next time.